Alright, hello out there everybody. I'm back with another WWE 2K stream here, and also to review last night's Elimination Chamber pay-per-view, which went pretty much how I expected it to go. You know, a lot of crap. But, ironically, I'm not really even that upset that it was crappy, because it's good to go into pay-per-views like that with very low expectations. I've got my SmackDown card already booked here. As you can see, you will see Scott Steiner of the NWO making his debut, actually, against Adam Aldo, a jobber. Kofi Kingston of the New Day versus Noam Dar. Akira Tozawa versus Jushin Thunder Liger. The Hardys against Caleb Jackson and Evan Wilson, two jobbers. And in the main event, Sting takes on Dean Malenko of the Four Horsemen. So let's go ahead and start the show. Like I just stated, I didn't have any real expectations going into this show. I figured it was going to be mostly crap, with a few bright spots. There was a couple things I didn't expect. I didn't know that there was going to be a Cruiserweight title match, because I don't really follow 205 Live that much. And I didn't get to see SmackDown this past Tuesday, because right around the time that show started,
welcome to SmackDown Live.
My power went out due to the weather, and I went about 12-13 hours without power. So I didn't get to see any of SmackDown, so I didn't know that Kofi had been chosen as Mustafa Ali's replacement.
We've long enough. Let's get this thing started. Singles match on tap next.
Another thing that I kind of didn't expect, I didn't expect the show to pretty much blow its entire wad in the pre-show and in the opening match. Elimination Chamber, for me, is a two-match show. The best stuff was the Cruiserweight title match, Akira Tozawa versus Buddy Murphy, and the women's tag team title match. And it was all crap from there. We'll start with the Cruiserweight title match, Akira Tozawa and Buddy Murphy. I'm a fan of both guys. I remember Buddy Murphy when he was in NXT teaming with Wesley Blake. I was a big fan of that team. Loved their work, and especially with Alexa Bliss. Thought they were a good tag team, and hoped they would make a splash on the main roster, which ended up not happening for whatever reason. The team split, and Wesley Blake's doing whatever he's doing, and Buddy Murphy has carved out a nice niche for himself as a top guy on 205 Live, which is pretty cool. I've been a fan of Akira Tozawa for years, and I was so happy when he went to WWE, and he's had a lot of great matches in WWE. He even got a good match out of Enzo Amore, which it's shocking. It really shows how good Akira is, that he can get a match out of Enzo. The pacing of the match was very good. They told a good story, some good high spots. The crowd they weren't really alive for the first bit of that match, because it's a pre-show. You don't really expect much from a pre-show match.
What a great match
but then they picked up the pace, and the crowd, by the end, the crowd was really into it. They were really behind Akira Tozawa.
It could very well have been our main event.
I like the finish, and I like that Buddy went over. I think it was the right decision. I think Buddy should have at least hold the title till Mania. He's a good champion, good worker. I don't know who they could put the title on next. Once they decide to take it off of Buddy Murphy, I have no idea who that could be.
From Detroit, Michigan,
I mean, you could do Cedric Alexander again. He was a good champion the first time. And
Scott Steiner.
you could do Mustafa Ali, I guess. He still appears on 205 Live, I think.
What better way to start the night off
but
with this
honestly,
one?
I'd like rather see Mustafa in the WWE title picture, or at least the U.S. title picture. I think he'd be a good U.S. champion. Not in the long term, but for short term. But overall, the match was really, really good. I enjoyed it thoroughly. I'd give it about 3.25 stars. Again, they told a really good story. They had chemistry, good workers. It was thoroughly enjoyable. The pre-show team, I could do without. Was not really ever been a Jonathan Coachman fan. Beth Phoenix is okay, but that Sam Roberts just, I don't know, he annoys the hell out of me.
Sometimes that's all you can do.
The only good thing about those segments was when Heavy Machinery walked in on the bar. I love that because I'm a huge fan of Otis. That dude is just hilarious, but he's also a great worker. He's like the Larry the Cable Guy of the WWE right now, and I think that's pretty awesome.
Going for the big Hurricanrana. I think this is the beginning of the end.
Opening match of the pay-per-view was the women's title match, the women's tag team title match, and I'm not surprised at all by who won.
He goes for the cover.
I figured that Sasha and Bayley, if they were going to start off with babyfaces as champions, that they would be the pick. I was actually just surprised that it came down between them, Mandy, and Sonya Deville. I mean, I'm not complaining about it. I'm a big fan of Sonya Deville. I think she's very much underused and being wasted. I thought it would come down between Sasha and Bayley and either Nia Jax and Tamina or the Iconics. I thought those were the three teams that would make most sense to put those titles on to start.
And the first match of the night comes to an end.
They cut a pretty good pace. All the teams did really well. I was surprised at the reactions that Carmella and Naomi got as a team. They worked pretty well. I like that they had the matching outfits and matching entrance, basically. And I thought they had pretty good chemistry as partners. And they also apparently have an official name, so maybe they're going to be teaming for a while, which I wouldn't be against. I think they did pretty good. The Riot Squad, Liv Morgan and Sarah Logan, did pretty good as well. I enjoy Sarah Logan. I think she's a good worker. Liv Morgan, she's not Eva Marie or Lana bad. She's at least improving. I would definitely give her that.
Let's do it.
They had a good accounting of themselves in that match. The Iconics had great heat. It's not necessarily their in-ring work, to me, I think, that gets heat with the fans. It's the annoying accent. They go out of their way to make their Australian accent even more annoying. And to me, that's just great. It gets them heat, makes them relevant. And they had a good accounting of themselves as well. I believe they were the ones that eliminated Carmella and Naomi, which in of itself was a bit surprising. Because I figured that Carmella and Naomi would be the first team eliminated. But I thought it was going to be Mandy and Sonya that did it, with Mandy beating Naomi. Because they got that feud going, and it's a good feud. A lot of heat there with Mandy. I figured that would be the route they would go, but they didn't. They decided to give the Iconics an elimination, which I'm okay with. And, a little surprising, but overall I'm okay with it. I love that Sasha Banks was selling the shoulder the entire time, for the entire match, which is something that is rarely done in the business anymore, especially in WWE. You rarely see someone sell like that. And it really made the difference in this match. It really did. Bayley and Sasha, obviously they're best friends outside the ring. They have really good chemistry as partners. They're a really good team. And I think they definitely made a good decision starting with them as the champions. Nia and Tamina, they did well as well. It's one of the few times where I don't really have anything to criticize about Nia Jax, because, well, she didn't hurt anybody, she wasn't sloppy, and didn't do anything stupid, so that's a win. I love the spot where Nia broke the pod and knocked herself out for a bit. I thought that was a great spot. Normally, you would always see that with big men in the chamber. It was nice to see a woman do that spot, which is kind of cool, and it was very believable. The finish of the match is what I was most impressed with. And again, it goes back to selling. Sasha Banks continuing to sell that shoulder so much that when she submitted Sonya Deville, she had to come up with a whole new way to put on the bank statement, which was really, really cool, using her foot and her leg to kind of wrap it around the chin of Sonya and then reach around with the good arm and grab her foot and put the move on that way because she couldn't use the other arm because it was hurt. That was great psychology, great selling in my opinion. So good. I think even guys like Jim Cornette would be proud and be very happy with the way Sasha did that. The crowd was into the match from the beginning. They knew what the stakes were, how historic it was. The one thing that bugs me, and it's no fault of any of the women in that match, it's the fault of WWE, is during the entire build-up to this chamber match, they kept saying first ever women's tag team champions, which is completely false. And I'm going to credit Beth Phoenix the most because she did this in the pre-show and did it on commentary. She corrected the record and brought up the fact that there were women's tag team champions in WWE before. Most notably the Glamour Girls and the Jumping Bomb Angels, who had some tremendous matches with each other in 1988 and in 87. In fact, at the first Royal Rumble show in '88, those two teams stole the show. They by far had the best match on the entire card, and that includes the Royal Rumble match. And so I'm happy that Beth Phoenix, brought that to people's attention because it should be known. I would as for a star rating for that women's chamber match, I would give it a solid 4 stars. I think it was tremendous. It wasn't perfect by any means. It wasn't expecting it to be, because it was a first. To become the longest reigning WWE but it was a very, very good match. Kofi Kingston played a huge part in the New Day's incredible. Now, unfortunately, this is where the show goes downhill from there. It doesn't get any better. Next up, you had, I believe it was Miz and Shane defending the tag titles against the Usos. Now, first, I was saying that I was actually surprised that the Usos got this match because most fans probably know by now if you pay attention to wrestling news. Jimmy Uso got arrested this past week for doing something stupid. And so I figured that match would be scrapped or they would be pulled out and they would defend it against somebody else, probably the Bar. But they got the match and it was okay, but very, very cookie cutter and predictable. I called the finish of the match about 4 or 5 minutes before it actually happened. And that was the sad thing. I knew that Miz and Shane were not going to hold the titles for very long. Because I wholeheartedly believe that they're setting up for the Shane versus Miz one-on-one at WrestleMania for that stupid fucking trophy. And so, I figured they would lose those titles in short order.
Guys, let's go to the replay.
And that's pretty much what happened. I do like the Usos. I do wish I wouldn't have put the titles on them. I kind of sick of the same teams on SmackDown tag belts. It's pretty much the Bar, New Day, and the Usos only at this point. They really need fresh blood in that division.
That match deserves another look, folks.
I'd give that match, 2 stars, 2.25 maybe. It was okay. Nothing special, nothing to write home about. I was expecting that after they lost that would be when Miz turns on Shane, but apparently they're saving that for something else. for another time, probably on SmackDown,
That match is
most
any
likely.
indication of what to expect here tonight. We are in
Next
for
up,
an
we had
amazing evening. Plenty more action still to come here tonight, folks.
I believe it was the Intercontinental title match. Finn Balor versus Bobby Lashley and Lio Rush in a handicap match. And this was another match that I was somewhat curious to see until I heard that Lio Rush was going to be in the match. And then immediately I knew the finish. And it was painfully obvious that if Finn was going to win the belt, which is cool, because I love Finn Balor, and I'm glad he's finally getting a run with a major singles title. But it was they basically gave everyone the finish before the match even happened when they put Lio Rush in the match. You knew that he was going to beat Lio and not Bobby to win the title. That way Bobby could lose the belt without getting beat, without getting pinned, to save him for whatever they're going to do with him at Mania. It was a really short, crappy throwaway match. None of it was Finn's fault. It's not his fault that Bobby Lashley has always sucked and always will suck. He's nothing but a cheap, second-rate Brock Lesnar ripoff without any of the charisma, talent, or drawing ability. Lio Rush he's a spot monkey. That's all he is. He can't really even cut that good of a promo. I don't know how he gets the job as a manager, but, whatever. I give that match 1 star. And that's about all it is. I mean, it's just crap. But next, we get Braun Strowman versus Baron Corbin. Another predictable match with a predictable finish. No, wait a minute. After that was supposed to be, I believe, Ronda Rousey versus Ruby Riott, which ended up getting scrapped for kayfabe purposes. You get Charlotte coming out to the ring. She's got a lot of heat, which is good and very well deserved. Talking about, Ronda and Ruby and making fun of Becky Lynch and all that crap. And then Ronda comes out, and it looks like you're going to have a confrontation with each other, but then here comes Becky Lynch on crutches, and she ends up beating the living shit out of Ronda and Charlotte with crutches, which is awesome. The crowd loved it. Even when she beat up Ronda, they loved it. Becky's probably the most over babyface in the company right now. And even though she's not even really a babyface, she's more of a tweener.
He's going for it all. And there's the bell.
Oops.
And here we go.
Messed up
this
there.
is the type of battle that you can show someone who's new to our brand of entertainment and say,
then because of that, they scrapped Ruby Riott versus Ronda, which kind of sucks because that was one of the women's title match, the tag title match for the women. Those were the only matches on the card I really wanted to see. Because I like Ruby Riott, and I'm a Ronda Rousey fan. I was hoping they could have a great match. I figured they would. But ended up not happening that night. So that got scrapped. That was very disappointing. Next up, got the worst match on the card by far. Baron Corbin versus Braun Strowman, no DQ. Very predictable, very cookie-cutter match. What they've been doing with Braun and Baron Corbin a lot. Braun gets his moves in, and just when he's about to win, all of a sudden Bobby Lashley and Drew McIntyre come out, and they all three destroy him with weapons and shit, and leave Braun laying, and Corbin gets the win. It's not Braun's fault. He's the one getting punished for getting over. It's to the point where even amongst my friends that are big wrestling fans, we no longer really care about Braun Strowman anymore because WWE has made it to where there's no reason to care. So many times they have burned Braun Strowman fans with this bullshit that we just no longer care about him anymore. They're never going to reward him for getting good and getting over, so there's really no point in caring. That match, I give -3 stars. It was just complete garbage and bullshit.
Oh, and it's a reversal. Kira Tozawa just too fast.
Like I said, it was horrible. And the sad part is, I guarantee you, Vince is the reason behind it.
Look out!
Triple H would not be behind this burial of Braun Strowman like that. Because Vince is now turned into, basically he's turned into Vern Gagne. He is so far behind the times it doesn't know what modern fans like anymore. Triple H does, and he gives the fans what they want. And he's done such a great job.
I don't like the look in his eye here, folks.
I can't wait for Vince to actually step down and Triple H to actually be in charge.
Just when you thought he's going for the pin.
So crap like this doesn't happen anymore.
Too close for comfort. How do they do that?
The only thing that I think might have saved that segment for me would have been if Finn Balor had come out to try and help Strowman along with Kurt. Because I believe they're going with Finn Balor versus Drew McIntyre for the Intercontinental Championship at WrestleMania, which I think would be the match of the show and steal the show.
I'm just as shocked as everyone else, Cole.
So think they would, start to build towards that last night, but they didn't go that far.
This doesn't look good, Byron. Yeah, this is how people end up getting hurt.
Next up, I think, final match in the card was the WWE Championship Elimination Chamber match. Like I said, I didn't know Kofi was going to be in the match because I didn't get to see SmackDown. But I was pleasantly surprised that he was in the match. It's a good choice. He's a good worker, and he's over, But
great job escaping.
When I saw some of the reactions online and the way they were doing promos with Kofi,
I'll tell you, it didn't look any less brutal the second time around.
On the pay-per-view and trying to build him up, and even in reactions on Twitter and shit. I knew how the match was going to end, and I wasn't disappointed. I just figured it's business as usual. I immediately said to myself, well, they're going to completely redo the 2012 Elimination Chamber with Kofi Kingston in the Santino Marella role.
He's starting to feel it here. I don't think he expected to be
where they get the fans' hopes up, thinking, hey, they're actually going to do something with Kofi, who deserves it because he's been one of the best workers in the company for over a decade. And then they completely shit on the fans by doing nothing. And that's exactly what happened.
Here we go.
It was a very cookie cutter chamber match. Like I said, it could almost have been move for move the 2012 chamber match all over again. Complete with the spot where Daniel Bryan, as the heel, hit on top of one of the pods.
Now he's working that exploit.
Luckily, I wasn't expecting much out of that match to begin with. I figured Daniel was going to retain. No, there was going to be no surprise there. Most of the match had a decent pacing. Didn't see a lot out of Jeff Hardy. He was eliminated pretty quickly. Didn't see much out of a lot of the guys except for Kofi, which kind of pissed me off even more. That they went through this length to get people's hopes up like that, and think, hey, maybe they're actually going to do something with him, and then same business as usual.
Big win here to start the show. If that's the type of action we're going to get all day long, I can't wait to see the rest of the card.
Because I wasn't expecting the match to be great at all.
Stay tuned for more.
That's why I'm not mad as some people are about the finish. I would say the stuff with Kofi and Daniel was good. It was decent. Daniel sold a lot. He gave Kofi a lot. The fans really wanted Kofi to win that match. Because, again, Kofi's one of those guys that he's been around for a long time. He's held every other title. He's consistently been over with the crowd, produced great match after great match and great moment after great moment. And then the WWE just shits on him again, and the fans for getting behind him. It was 2012 all over again. The only difference between Santino and Kofi is Kofi's a good worker and isn't a complete comedy character, and is capable of producing although he hasn't done it yet, maybe a 5-star match. Santino was just a comedy guy. As for a star rating, I'm giving that match 1 star, and that's being generous because it was so cookie cutter. I knew the finish before the match even happened. Once I saw the promos and how they were building him up, it was just sad. But it's par for the course with WWE. I mean, just look at Daniel Bryan's character right now. Right now, Daniel Bryan is nothing but a cheap second-rate knockoff of the Straight Edge Society era CM Punk. That's all he is, and it's pretty bad.
Introducing first,
with Eric Rowan, one of the
weighing
worst
in
workers
at
in the company in the last 15
pounds,
years at least,
Caleb Jackson.
being the Luke Gallows of this storyline. Which is actually an insult to Luke Gallows because Luke Gallows is a phenomenal worker who can
tag
talk.
team match coming up here. A big time
you know,
match.
it is what it is. I'm hoping it doesn't last for long.
Neither one of these superstars can afford a loss right now.
Knowing WWE and their stupid booking, it probably will. I'm not saying they shouldn't have turned Daniel Bryan heel. I'm in favor of the heel turn idea, but doing this gimmick is just fucking stupid. Overall, this show was a dud for me. Like I said, the only good matches on the card were the pre-show match and the women's tag team title match. Those were very good matches, and not only did they deliver, they over-delivered for me. The rest of the show was just all filler and bullshit. That's, you know. But then again, most February pay-per-views in WWE history are like that, and it's been that way for decades. The last really, truly good February pay-per-view for me, I would say, was No Way Out 2004. Top to bottom, that was a very good card. And of course, that was when Eddie Guerrero beat Brock Lesnar for the Undisputed title.
The tag team
as for WrestleMania,
this is one of those matches where it's hard to believe we get paid
I'm still kind of ho-hum about it.
Saxton gets paid for anything.
Although I am excited, I am excited about the prospect of Finn Balor versus Drew McIntyre for the Intercontinental title. I hope that happens, and I hope they're given enough time. And I think that match can steal the show. Other than that, and the eventual Becky versus Ronda match, those are really the only matches I care about on the card right now. As I said yesterday, I don't care about Seth Rollins or Brock Lesnar facing each other. I just don't.
Offense here tonight.
This WrestleMania, I think, is going to be a throwaway WrestleMania, which is kind of sad to say in this day and age, but I mean, when you look at what they're doing now, where they're probably going to go with the card, it's going to be bad.
This tag team match is dangerously close to getting out of control for him.
He needs a breather in a bad way right now. If he could just make it to his corner and make the tag.
Although I did, another thing to talk about is apparently WWE has already announced and confirmed, and it'll be announced tonight, that DX will be the first inductees into the Hall of Fame this year, which is cool. And from the looks of the graphic that has been put out by them online, it'll be basically everybody in DX except Rick Rude. It's Shawn and Triple H, of course, but X-Pac, the New Age Outlaws in China, surprisingly. Which is cool, because as a member of DX, China was very integral to that group. She may have sucked as a wrestler, and she did.
Myself included, when they returned
And she had her issues, of course, but you can't deny that she was over, and one of the most over members of that group. Sean Waltman is, I would say he is the most underrated star in the wrestling business in North America of the entire decade of the 90s. He will never, ever get the credit that he deserves for being as great a worker as he was. He could cut a promo with the best of them. He could work any style. He was believable. He sold his ass off. He made everybody look good. And I'm glad he's getting into the Hall of Fame. If you want to know just how good Sean Waltman really was, the one match to go, and it's on the WWE Network. It is a match from Monday Night Raw in '94, where he is the 1-2-3 kid wrestled Bret Hart for the WWF title. And even Bret Hart puts over Sean Waltman huge in interviews, because this match was truly great, and they told such a great story. Even Ric Flair, who doesn't have a lot of good things to say about the NWO and such, even now, puts over Sean Waltman as being phenomenal to work with. And so that should tell you something right there. So I'm glad that he's finally getting in. The New Age Outlaws, well deserved.
Teams in sports entertainment created a
Again, one of the most popular tag teams ever. They were super over.
This one's over, guys.
And they drew a lot of money.
This is one move and your opponent can gain the upper hand.
Billy Gunn, again, another guy that was underrated. He was given a chance to kind of be a top guy. But in the environment the WWE is in right at that time in '99, it really wasn't conducive for a guy like him to get over. When you had guys like Undertaker, Steve Austin, The Rock, and Triple H just coming into his own.
1, 2, and a kick out, much to nobody's surprise. Very nice.
Road Dogg, again, another a great guy. Now, with Brian Armstrong, Road Dogg, he was never a great worker, and even he admits that and jokes about it to this day, that as an in-ring worker, he was pretty bad. He was nowhere near the caliber of his dad, Bullet Bob Armstrong, or his brothers, Scott, Steve, or especially Brad. Brad was the, I think, the best in-ring worker of that entire family, and that includes Bullet Bob. But the thing that got him over was his personality and his ability to talk. And I'm glad that's going to get recognized, because he deserves it.
When this guy's on, look
out. So far, so good with the 2019 WWE Hall of Fame class. There are some rumors that the Hart Foundation, Bret Anvil, and Jimmy Hart
that has got to be it.
Are going to go in this year, which I'm in favor of, because Jimmy Anvil Neidhart should be in the Hall of Fame. I kind of wish that they could do the faction, but of course, like I said, stated yesterday, Martha Hart, the widow of Owen, just refuses to let Owen be acknowledged for anything wrestling related. She continues to shit on him, shit on his legacy. But, you know, that is what it is.
They did it.
There are also rumors of some other people that may go in. I've heard rumors that Eric Bischoff might get a call about it, and I would be in favor of it. Eric Bischoff is well deserved. His accomplishments speak for itself in the business.
These guys showed flashes in this
great
match.
character.
The flashes don't exactly set the world on fire.
Without him and Ted Turner, the '90s wrestling boom doesn't
superstars
happen.
in this one got after it pretty good from the opening bell. Can't complain
And that's just a fact.
Technical proficiency or result here.
Without even breaking a sweat, this one is over.
That's a big win any day of the week, on any show.
And we have our main event for this SmackDown. Dean Malenko of the Four Horsemen taking on the WWF Champion, Sting. There are some people in the Hall of Fame I would like to see go in. Most definitely. This year, like I said yesterday, I'd like to see Rick Martel go in. I think he is more than deserving of it. He was such a great worker, great talent. Who else would I like to see go in? Oh, I said yesterday, Jim Cornette and the Midnight Express. That should go without saying.
Making his way to the ring from New Jersey.
I think you could see JBL go in this year, maybe. Again, a guy that he's deserving. He had a great career. the JBL character was a great heel character.
What a great match we have here to
And
start
I know
off
this will
night,
cause some
guys.
controversy
And Michael,
with
I
some
had to check
fans,
twice
but
when I saw this
they
match
say
listed as our opener. I mean,
that
it
the
could very
JBL
well
character
have been our
was
main event.
just more of a ripoff of the $1 Million Band Ted DiBiase. In my opinion, JBL's gimmick was more believable than Ted DiBiase's because JBL really was $1 million man. He is a financial genius, made a shit ton of money on the stock market, and a couple years before the JBL gimmick, he even wrote a book about it called Get More Money Now. So, and I loved it for that reason, because it was believable. He really was $1 million man at that time. But who knows who's going to go in? Especially like the Warrior Award winner, which I'm a big proponent of. I love that idea, and I think definitely Warrior would be happy with the Warrior Award winners that have been chosen so far. Another guy I would like to see go in, and this guy was not a wrestler, he was never an on-air talent, but his contribution to the business can never be denied, and that's Jim Johnston, the composer. He composed so many of those iconic themes that we all grew up with that still resonate to this day. I mean, when you think, Steve Austin, Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels was Jimmy Hart, The Undertaker, so many, Ultimate Warrior, so many of those themes that he came up with that people still love and recognize to this day. He should be in the Hall of Fame, without a doubt. And I hope he goes in eventually.
Gotta believe this one's over.
Another behind-the-scenes talent, and I know guys like Jim Cornette don't like him, but
he's capable of great runs like this.
I could see Kevin Dunn going into the Hall of Fame at some point. And even though guys like Jim Cornette, are not fans, I could see the argument being made for why he should go. I mean, he's a great director and a producer.
Nice, shut it down.
Another name I would like to see is Steve Lombardi. First of all, he was a great worker in the ring, but he did so much behind the scenes.
No doubt it was a good
one.
From
producing interviews to producing home video compilations, helping talent with promos,
wasn't much to look at, but
even having some guys' first matches in WWE, and those guys get the push and the nod on his say-so. I mean, you ask Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson about Steve Lombardi, and he'll tell you, Rock wouldn't have had a WWE career if it hadn't have been for Steve Lombardi putting him over.
Here is your winner.
And Steve Lombardi is also one of the nicest guys in the business. I don't think anyone has ever had a bad thing to say about Steve Lombardi, and I hope he goes in as well.
Somebody who will someday, very soon, be
well, it looks like that's the end of the show here, folks, and I don't have too much else to talk about. Gave you my thoughts and my review of Elimination Chamber. A pretty shitty show, but I expected that. And also, some Hall of Fame talk, with DX being confirmed as the first inductees this year. So, I'm going to go ahead and end this for now. I may stream again tonight, maybe after Raw, depends on how I feel. Or maybe tomorrow. Or maybe sometime this week, who knows. But until then, folks, go ahead and take